You know, as a student of the Bible over the years, many people have come to me and said, you know, Jeff, I love reading all of these stories about the Bible and all these powers and all of these nations. But, you know, I have to be honest, as I look to the future, it doesn't seem like the Bible has anything to say about today. It doesn't seem like the Bible has anything to say about the nations of the world. You know, where's the United States? Where's Europe? Where's Germany? You know, in other words, we hear in the Old Testament about all of these nations and powers and groups and things like that. But it just seems like a bunch of old, dry and dusty history. Is this really relevant for our lives today? Now, that question is framed at the same time when we watch this great superpower nation that we happen to belong to called the United States. And we just don't seem to see the United States in the Bible. And so the question we're going to briefly deal with today is the United States in the Bible? And the answer is absolutely yes. You know, this is one of the problems we have with Bible study is we read the Bible and we think it's about somebody else, but we never know that it's about us. It's the same thing about our sin. When we hear about sin, we think it's about somebody else's sin, but it's not so easy to personalize it about our sin. We're very good at finding things in others, but when it gets very close to home, we can't look at ourselves in a very clear and objective way. I know that's certainly true for myself and my issues, and I believe it's particularly true about this country and looking at how the United States fits in to the Bible and to its purposes. Now, interesting thing about the Bible, real quickly, is that the Lord goes into the Old Testament and deals with a few major superpowers, and He deals with them in Babylon, Assyria, Rome, Greece. And basically, in those four superpowers, along with Egypt, He basically lays out His foundation of how He's going to have the other nations come in and begin to enter into what they did. In other words, the past is not past. All of the nations that we read about in the Old Testament, all of them that persecuted and have trouble with Israel, those nations have resurrected today in this modern world. Now, if you sit down and really go through this, you're going to find out that the great superpower that was one of the great enemies in Genesis chapter 10 of people of God for all times was the nation of Babylon. Always a very confusing place, always a place of opposition to the Lord's work. And you see today that as America is moving away from her spiritual foundations, even pushing the Lord Jesus Christ out of our classrooms and out of our public arena, that this nation is entering into the footsteps of the ancient nations. We are entering into a time of great confusion like we've never seen before, and we're beginning to fulfill the scriptural patterns of the past. So is America in the Bible? Absolutely. And if you want to know the actual nation and pattern, we are picking up the nation and the pattern of Babylon. America is becoming a confusing place, a materialistic place, a place that has rejected God. And so therefore we see that the stories and prophecies of the Bible apply to our country today. And they're just as real and as relevant as they were in the Old Testament. May God begin to reconnect us to this reality, to begin to see our nation and the direction of this world with biblical eyes, and not just with the eyes of the place that we know and love as home. And may God give us the discernment to share this truth with other people in these last days.